TheorySabers.com. Hey everyone, and welcome back to another video. This video is going to be turned into a giant series of 10 or so videos that will be 10 to 20 minutes long each, going over the differences between the novel and different scenes from the film. So in this video, we're going to go over everything and kind of just give a good rundown and gloss of everything that I noticed from the Revenge of the Sith novel versus the actual movie, the pros and cons, the differences, and the actual quotations from the books compared to the film. So let's go ahead and deep dive into this in honor of Revenge of the Sith's 20th anniversary. We're going to begin this series now, and I'm just really happy that this film has re-released with almost $30 million for the weekend at the box office, making it officially the second biggest re-release in movie history for a weekend. If this doesn't show Disney that this is real Star Wars, this is what fans want, then I don't know what does. So sit back, relax, enjoy this first introduction to a series that is going to really be something memorable on the channel here. These videos are going to be long and very in-depth, so I hope you enjoy. Subscribe if you are new here. There's almost 4,000 videos on the channel with tons of lore, and leave a like as we embark on this new journey. There are some stories in Star Wars where a book adaptation follows the movie almost beat for beat. And then there's Revenge of the Sith, the novelization by Matthew Stover, who I was fortunate enough to interview. This book is not just an adaptation, it's a revelation. It takes the bones of the film that we know and it fills them with blood and soul and tragedy so raw that by the end you realize you never really knew the full story at all. That's right. For you guys who haven't actually read the book and only seen the film of Revenge of the Sith, you are about to embark on an absolute treat. So like I said, let's go through the biggest differences between Revenge of the Sith, the film versus the novel. And then in subsequent series videos, we're going to be going in major depth of every different scene. And then I'll compile them all into one video when we're done. It'll probably take a month or more. So, from the very first page, Matthew Stover makes it very clear. And mind you, before we begin, George Lucas combed through all of the different iterations and passes that Matthew Stover had to make for this book. George really takes the novelizations very seriously. So with that in mind, just know this is extreme pure canon. From the very first page, Stover makes it very clear that this is not a swashbuckling space adventure. This is the death of dreams. The novel opens like this. This is how 25 millennia come to a close. Corruption and treachery have crushed 1,000 years of peace. This is not just the end of a republic. Night is falling on civilization itself. Now, you compare that to the movie, where we begin with heroic drums, banter between Obi-Wan and Anakin, and a visually thrilling space battle. The film presents the war as exciting, whereas the novel presents the war as horror. In the book, when beings across the galaxy watch the invasion of Coruscant, it says it's a nightmare and no one can wake up. The entire mood is different. The movie shows Star Wars as an adventure. The novel shows it as an apocalypse. Now let's discuss the Dooku death scene, betrayal in real time from the film to the book. Now in the film, Dooku looks shocked when Sidious orders his execution, but we don't really know what he was thinking. In the novel, we do. Before Anakin beheads Dooku, we get Dooku's inner thoughts. He believes that the plan was to capture Palpatine, fake Dooku's defeat, and have Dooku return to lead a new empire as a hero. When Sidious says, "Kill him," Dooku realizes the truth. Dooku thought blankly, "Kill me?" And through the cross of their blades, he saw in Skywalker's eyes the promise of hell. Page 81. Dooku's last living emotion isn't hatred, it's betrayal. He realizes Sidious had always planned to replace him with Anakin, and that, my friends, is pure Sith doctrine. And if you watched my previous video from Legacy of the Jedi, everything ties in perfectly. It's like poetry, it rhymes. Treachery is the way of the Sith. The movie hints at this, the novel forces you to feel it. Now, when discussing Anakin's fall, the film frames Anakin's turn to the dark side as a desperate move to save Padme from death. But in the novel, we get inside Anakin's mind, and it's even more devastating. When he kneels before Sidious, Anakin feels nothing like triumph. Instead, it reads, "He knelt because he no longer had any choice. He knelt because he was afraid to lose Padme. He knelt because he was in despair." Page 266. Anakin doesn't fall because he's seduced by power. He falls because he cannot accept loss. The dead star dragon inside him, the fear that everything he loves will die, wins. The movie shows Anakin fall. The novel makes you live it. Now, one thing I loved about the book was how Matthew Stover describes Anakin's furnace of a heart, this dragon that's inside of him, and once he finally succumbs to the dark side, it opens, and you see glimmers of it opening and burning like a hell when he fights Dooku. Now, keep in mind, I'm going to go through all of these in 10 to 20 minute long video excerpts. So this video is just the introduction. It's just getting you on your way to understand the major differences between the films and the book. Next, we're going to look at Mace Windu versus Sidious. In the film, the duel between Mace Windu and Sidious is quick and ambiguous, but in the novel, it's very clear. Mace Windu defeats Darth Sidious. Page 293. Mace Windu was deep in the zone now, channeling Vapad, turning the dark side's own energy against the Sith Lord. Mace was winning. And later, on page 295, Palpatine was down, and he was not getting up. Sidious only starts to lose when he sees Anakin approaching. He plays weak to manipulate Anakin. This critical difference makes the tragedy even worse. Anakin doesn't save a weak old man. He destroys the only man who could have defeated the Sith, because he's terrified of losing Padme. Mace Windu wasn't beaten by Sidious. He was betrayed by Anakin, which is the theme here, betrayal. Obi-Wan vs. Anakin. The Mustafar duel in the movie is an absolute spectacle. If we didn't have Nick Gillard making all the fight scenes as smooth and amazing as they were, it would not feel the same. So first and foremost, shout out to George Lucas and Nick Gillard. In the novel, it's philosophical warfare. Anakin is portrayed as a storm of rage. Obi-Wan is portrayed as calm, heartbroken, sorrowful. There's a critical line during their duel. Obi-Wan fought with understanding, but not with hate. He fought with empathy, but not with fear. Anakin fought with rage. And it's because Obi-Wan fights without rage that he wins. Obi-Wan is not stronger than Anakin. No way. He simply remains more Jedi, more composed. And it's Anakin's hubris that kills him in the end. Now, in the movie, Order 66 is very devastating, but in the novel, Order 66 is described almost like the Force itself is breaking. Every Jedi death isn't just a death, it's a wound in the galaxy. When Stas Ali is killed, when Plo Koon starfighter is shot down, the novel makes you feel the pain through the Force itself. On page 307, across the galaxy, the Force cried out as light after light winked out into darkness. We aren't just watching the Jedi die. We're feeling the civilization itself collapse. Now, I want to cover Padme's death, because there is a bit of a difference here. In the film, her death feels vague. She lost the will to live. Okay, well, in the novel, it's much more clear. Padme dies because her heart breaks, because of Anakin's turn to the darkness. Her soul is shattered before her body ever is. And this is from page 406. She had loved Anakin Skywalker with all her heart, and now he was gone. Anakin Skywalker was dead. Anakin, in trying to save her, became the thing that destroyed her. The irony is not lost. And I want you to keep this in mind when Vader Episode 3 comes out. Everything is planned, everything rhymes. So the Revenge of the Sith novelization doesn't just expand the movie, it deepens it, it perfects it. It makes you feel things. It shows us that Anakin's fall was not just a fall at all. It was a slow surrender. One heartbreak at a time, one fear at a time, one choice at a time, until there was no Skywalker left, only a monster in black armor screaming inside of a coffin of steel. And if you didn't know, when Anakin is having the mask put on his face, if you actually slow the frames down, or you slow the movie down, or you just look closely, you can actually see, and some say they can even hear him saying, "Padme, help me." So this was a very basic rundown, I could say, of the novel and the film differences. So we're really going to get very, very nerdy as we go into the next series of videos, which are going to be direct extrapolations and breakdowns of the differences between certain scenes, some of which that I already mentioned, but we're going to just dive way deeper with quotations and excerpts and comparisons. as well as theories and some of the behind-the-scenes stuff as well that I'll incorporate. So stay tuned for that. Thanks so much for watching this difference between the book and the film. If you haven't read the book, I definitely recommend it. It's a fantastic read, and it'll really flesh out a lot of the film for you in ways that the film didn't do. And like I said, George he really examined everything when it came to the script for this book. Hope you all have a great day. Please leave a like on this video for the next series, and I'll see you all in the next one right here on Star Wars Theory. Until then, my fellow Jedi and Sith friends, remember, the Force will be with you, always.